Hello, brothers and sisters out there in the world. I thought I should make this little video to answer all the different videos on YouTube about the 2012 date and the Mayan calendar and all those other prophecies from around the world from different cultures. So here's what I've got. Is it 2012 or will it be 2015? Well, or will it be neither of those? And when it comes down to prophecy, now everybody likes a tight little precise package that is easy to understand and use, but that usually isn't the case. The interpretation of the Mayan and other prophecies that proclaim a date in or around 2012 needs closer examination. Now, since these prophecies, Mayan prophecies and all these elements aren't all that clear about what's going to happen, let's take a look at what the Bible has to say what's going to happen. The Bible is quite clear about these things. The Bible talks about a last 7-year period. This 7-year period is the beginning, or the last 7 years before Jesus Christ returns, conquers the planet Earth. He returns from like outer space or from another dimension. And he brings all his saints and angels with him, and he invades the planet Earth, and he meets all the armies of the world who are gathered together by this Antichrist, this devil-possessed person called the Antichrist. And they do battle at Armageddon, and Jesus Christ, of course, and his saints win and wipes them all out. And then Jesus Christ sets up his ruling capital city on earth that rules from then on. Excuse the jet airplane going overhead. The beginning of this last 7 years is marked by what the Bible calls a covenant, or it could be a treaty of some kind. It could even be something like we just saw happening in London with the G20. Well, I'm not saying that is it, but if we would to take that date or today's year into consideration, say in 2009, and if something like that or something that's going about to happen was the treaty that we're talking about, and because world events, the economy crashing and all that seems to point to something like this happening, the rise of the one world government that the Bible also predicts. And there's a lot of other prophecies and things in the news that talk about that. We take into the consideration the date 2009. That goes in 3 years, or it could be 3.5 years, to 2012, which is the Mayan date. But the Bible also talks about the midst of this last 7 years, or the middle of the last 7 years, being the time when that Antichrist fellow, the devil incarnate, breaks the covenant or that treaty that they made for the 7-year treaty, and he himself, it seems like he invades Israel and proclaims himself to be God, the Messiah, the Christ, and he demands that everybody worship him, and he demands that everybody gets the infamous or the famous mark of the beast in their hand or their forehead, or they are not allowed to buy or sell. So the Bible describes a whole lot more about this Antichrist fellow. You can read a lot about him in Daniel and in the Gospels, and in a little bit in Ezekiel, and of course mostly in Revelations, the book of Revelation. So if you haven't ever read those books, you ought to read them. Just go over them and let the Lord show you whatever he wants to show you out of them. Now, since the Mayan and the other prophecies came through people that were probably less than perfectly spiritually clean, because they had very little knowledge of the Lord Jesus Christ, other than maybe Jesus visiting them after his crucifixion, and while he was still on the earth before his taken up into heaven. He was still on earth for a period of time. He may have gone around and visited everybody, and all these different cultures do have coinciding events with someone, great prophet or someone who visited him about that time, so it's possible. But anyway, there was a much more of a chance, since they were more unclean than the prophets of Israel and the prophets that Jesus rose up. There's much more of a chance that their prophecies were corrupted by Satan, and that's why they're not quite as clear as the Bible. So the date 1220 could actually be talking about the rise of the Antichrist and having it confused with the return of Jesus Christ. And the 2012 date might be in the midst of that 7-year period, the midst of the midst of the week, as the Bible puts it. And this could lead a lot of people astray if you're believing in the 2012 date too seriously, and you see all this happen. You see the Antichrist rise up and say, I am God, I am the Christ, I am the Messiah. You don't believe it, because Jesus Christ said when he returns the second time, he'll return in the clouds in the sky with a monumental event that every eye will see. So this man is going to, the Antichrist is going to be a fake, a fraud, a false person. And after he rises up, there will be 3.5 years left. If we add those 3.5 years to the 2012 date, that brings us to 2015, or a little after 2015. That would seem to be more like the right kind of date that we're looking at if all these prophecies and dates are true at all. And the Bible does say we don't know the day or the hour, but it does say we should be aware of the times and the seasons. Just by looking at what's happening in the world shows us the times and the seasons. And speaking of seasons, Jesus gave another prophecy about the fig tree putting forth leaves. Know that summer is nigh, and it is at the very doors. His return is at the very doors. I have another videotape called the time tree prophecy about a tree date palm seed that was found that was 2,000 years old in Israel, and it was planted and it has grown. And you should see that video also. That ties in with this pretty good. So thank you very much for your time. Sorry about all my stuttering and stuff. I'm not used to being in front of a camera. But God bless, and we love you and hope to see you in heaven. And when God, then we get a chance to conquer with God's love and God's truth the whole universe and make it all a paradise and a heavenly realm that everybody can enjoy. Thank you.